Been very pleased with the first 3 days. First 2 days we kept our installation very similar to where we were in the spring, and then today we threw a lot more on them. But you know, a lot of carryover from the spring and the summer, which I was very pleased about. You know, our quarterbacks and receivers, you can tell they spent a lot of time this summer throwing and catching because our timing is a lot more ahead of where I possibly anticipated it to be. Now, that will slow down some as the installation continues to climb. You know, then we just got to push through the heat. We got to push through installation to where some of those things just become more and more habit. We put in the first 2 days what we had run all spring, and now we're continuing to add on the playbook. So we'll see tomorrow. We'll have another day of installation this afternoon. We'll see tomorrow, because now some of those concepts and stuff are going to start piling on top of each other. As guys get tired, we just can't lose focus. We've got to maintain focus and be mentally tough to block the heat and block the installation and block me out of their mind and do what you're supposed to do.
All coaches have a relationship, but I know your relationship with Tommy was very special, very close. He was the offensive coordinator, you were the offensive line coach, y'all had the philosophy. Talk a bit about how you approach this season, having been with him for all those years, without him there by your side?
Now, Tommy, everything we do, you know, Tommy was the offensive coordinator, but so many things we've done offensively were things that both he and I made decisions on. He made the ultimate decision, but you know, I had input into most everything we were doing. So there are things that we have put together over years of us being together. You know, the biggest thing I miss is just you know, I love him as a person, and I miss him as a person. The opportunity that this has given me is unbelievable. I so enjoy being a lot more involved with the quarterbacks and the receivers, and I was always involved with the running backs, but especially the passing game. I enjoy being a bigger part of that, where Tommy handled a lot of that, and now I'm much more involved in that. And, Coach Aselta and Coach Pow and Coach Williams and myself are kind of all putting all of our heads together and doing that. But we're doing what we've all done. The biggest thing I miss is just having the little short guy around. The difference between this interview and the interview that you did with the previous coordinator is that he would not have been allowed to stand behind the podium because you would not have been able to get him on camera. Or you had to get a shorter podium.
Shorter podium, or move you from outside the podium. Coach Lucas has always said, I don't want to run the ball more, I want to run it better.
Yes.
We got to get.
Yes.
We want to run the ball better. We got to get more physical.
Yes.
When we get the ball down on the goal line and it's second and goal from the one, we have to punch it.
Yes.
In. We have to punch it in now. As an offensive line coach and an offensive coordinator now,
Yes.
how does that put more pressure on you to actually get the guys? Obviously, what's done in the weight room helps.
Yes.
But to get them ready to punch that ball over against them, you said when you're on the goal line.
The biggest thing, I don't take a whole lot of pressure in that. I probably put more pressure on me and us than Coach Lucas does as far as that goes. The biggest thing, in my opinion, is just a mentality. You know, we've got to train our guys when those situations arise. I don't care if everybody in the ballpark, every fan knows that we're going to run the football. We've got to find a way to not be denied. Also helps to have a 235. Coach Lucas said 235. He may have been trying to help my man out in front of everybody, but it also helps to have that big sucker standing behind those guys. And it breeds itself. That confidence breeds itself. In 2002, Tommy and I were together at University of Louisiana, Monroe, and very similar offensively to what we've been here. for whatever reason, we were great at short yardage and goal line situations if we needed a yard. But the big thing was we worked it, and our guys, and we had some guys that were pretty special players, and I had some guys up front, you know, that were older guys, which we've gotten to now. But they just flat out believed that they could not be denied in that situation. And up to this point, we've played so much musical chairs with our offensive line, flip-flopping guys back and forth. Now we're stabilized up front. We're going to be playing with the same guys that played in the same positions that they played last year up front. And they're a year stronger, you know, and a year more experienced and a year more comfortable within the offense. So, you know, we feel it relies on those guys up front in those situations and that guy behind them, you know, and we feel comfortable.
You mentioned the O-line unit as a whole. Let's talk about one guy in particular, Kevin Hughes.
Yes.
Obviously, you've seen him mature through the years, made leaps and bounds. Talk about what you have to get out of Kevin to make this team move down the field.
Kevin needs to play. Kevin is a confident kid, but I want Kevin to play with a dominant mentality. At times, he has been how would I say it, a finesse guy, but he's gotten so much stronger that it's time for him to become a dominant player. And that's not just in run game, that's in protection, that's in everything he does. And he has the abilities and he has the strengths to do that. And, you know, that's where I'm pushing him now. You know, he's been very successful with the abilities that he's been given the last couple of years. But that next step that I want him to take is kind of that mindset of, you know, this is my field, and I'm going to go out here and own it. You know, and if we get that, you know, that mentality will breed over to some other guys too. And it already has. He's doing a good job leading. You know, I would say it if Kevin was right here. When I first got here, he was not a very good practice player. And just through his maturation, he has become a better and better practice player on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Kevin will always show up on Saturdays. You know, when we first got here, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, he didn't work very hard. And it got his butt in a lot of trouble on Saturday at times. And that has completely changed. And the thing I love about it, it's affecting those younger guys that are behind him. You know, hopefully he'll have an opportunity after he leaves here, you know, and here's a guy that's going to be looked at it by some NFL scouts and this, that, and the other, that quite honestly could go out on a day like today that's stinking hot and him not put everything into it. But he has grown up so much, and you know, he had a great practice today from period 1 to period 36. You know, he worked his butt off, and that's going to help those guys behind him and everybody around him as well.